Alright, welcome back. So Fantaseal contacted me again to review another one of their products, a Hydra Stabilizer. This is good for getting more stable shots, but also has some cool features to it. The last GoPro mount they sent me was such high quality, I have no doubt that this one's going to be just as good. It has some cool features that we'll get into, but it comes in two pieces for one or two-handed use, and you have a wide variety of mounting options for this. This stabilizer is so cool off the bat because you can mount a DSLR camera, a GoPro, a phone, and a mic. So let's get into it and see what it's all about. So as soon as you open it, you'll see a nice microfiber cloth for your camera, which is a nice little touch from them. Additionally, you'll get an Allen key with 2 screws for mounting. Next, you get a cell phone adapter that adjusts to fit most, if not all, cell phones. It has a strong spring in it, so I'm sure it's going to have no problem holding down a phone. You also have 2 mounting options on this adapter, one on the bottom and one on the back. There's some cool things we can do with that, and I'll show you later. Moving on, we have the adapter for the phone adapter. This one's nice with a swivel joint that moves loosely until you tighten it. It has a standard tripod screw for most cameras, with a rubber base for grip. Moving on to the main pieces, we have the base plate. At the bottom you have the legs with nice rubberized strips for padding and grip. And actually the whole base itself has somewhat of a rubber finish to it. You have this nice large knob at the bottom to tighten down different cameras and mounts to the base, which also has a nice rubberized mat to it. You'll see some marks on mine because I already recorded this whole review, but I lost the file somehow through my SD card, and now I have to redo the whole thing. Anyways, it feels really solid. I think you'll have a hard time breaking it. Moving on, we have the handles. The main large handle comes with a 3-point hot shoe adapter for mounting lights, mics, and the phone adapter. Unfortunately, I don't have a mic or a light to show you guys for this review. But if you're like me, this gives you the option to upgrade now. It's removable with another large screw at the bottom. The handles themselves have nice grooved foam grips on them. The foam doesn't feel like it'll start tearing to pieces at the edges like other foam, so I think it'll last a while. And of course, it's worth noting it does feel comfortable to grip. At the bottom of the handle, you have the 2 mounting holes for the base plate. Another really cool design about this stabilizer is that it comes with a little bubble leveler at the bottom of the handle, so you can always look down to see if your picture is level. Lastly in the box, you get 2 GoPro adapters. You get 1 tripod adapter and 1 buckle adapter with 2 mounting screws on the bottom. So now let's get it all set up. We're going to take our 2 screws and Allen key, then the main handle, and base plate. The bottom of the handle will be connected to the top of the base plate. Now this is a tight fit, so you might have some trouble if you try pushing it straight down. I found it easier to slide it in through the side. Even so, it's still a tight fit. Once you have it in there, line up the holes and tighten the screws from the bottom of the base plate. And that's the only hardware for setting it up. When you have the screws in there, it's nice and flush on the bottom too, which I always appreciate in a smart design. There's no wobble in it and it feels strong, so far so good. Now we'll connect the second handle to it. You'll have the square head at the bottom and then a ring shape on top. Each one is going to slide into the grooves on each end. Each one of these are also a snug fit, which is good because you don't want them to come undone when you're handling it. When you have the top end, you can tighten this rubberized screw to lock it in. When it's all put together, it feels really nice in my hands. It feels comfortable, strong, like it could withhold a major drop no problem. So far I'm pretty impressed with it. Now we'll start mounting the adapters. I found that the best way of mounting the phone adapter is by removing the hot shoe first. I'll admit I'm not used to this kind of adapter, so I was a bit skeptical at first if this was going to stay in or not. But I assure you, that adapter will not be removed unless you want it removed. So you insert the adapter by the thin squared end, and you can only insert it one way on the hot shoe. You just choose which one you want to put it on. It took a little bit of force for me to get it all the way in, but I'd rather it be a struggle to get in than it to easily come out. So once you slide it in, just tighten it right back onto the stabilizer. It doesn't really matter which way it goes. So now that we have it on, we're going to equip the phone adapter. You can either screw it in from the bottom or from the back. It all depends on your preference on how you want the phone to be positioned. Now theoretically, since this is a standard tripod screw, you can mount a camera on here or a tripod adapter for another camera. I wouldn't recommend putting a DSLR on there. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be this phone adapter. And as simple as that, it's on. And now you can adjust the position on it by loosening the thumb screw on the back. Once you're happy with its placement, just tighten it back up. For this review, I'll be using a Samsung Galaxy S7, which is a pretty standard sized phone, and as you see when I put it on, I don't have to adjust the adapter too much, so there's plenty of room for a larger phone. As I said in the beginning, there's a strong spring in there, so I'm comfortable that this phone won't be dropped, even if I try to shake it off. So here it is. If you just wanted some more stable video on your phone, this is an option for you. However, there's some other pretty innovative things you can do with the phone on this that we'll get into. So let's move on to the GoPro mounts. You can either use the buckle for a quick attach option or the standard adapter. For this review, we're just going to use the standard adapter. Before moving on, I wanted to point out all these positions that you're capable of mounting your camera on the bottom plate. You simply have to loosen the screw at the bottom and choose where you want to place it. We're just going to keep it in the center for this. Now the one and only issue I had with this stabilizer was how this screw adjusted. Because if you don't have the adapter pushed down on the plate while you're tightening it, you can tighten it all the way and the adapter might still be loose on there. So how I found the best way to tighten the adapter on there was to tighten the screw about halfway in and then screw the adapter on from there. Once the adapter is tight on there, then tighten the screw the rest of the way. Now we're just going to throw the GoPro on just like any other adapter. I'll be using the Fantaseal torque screw that came with my last GoPro mount. That's another little thing about this stabilizer. I wish it came with one of their awesome torque screws, but that's just me asking for extra. So here it is with a GoPro on it, and they could definitely benefit from this stabilizer because they're small and they can get shaky video if you just hold them by hand. Now when you have both the GoPro and the camera on here, you can do a few things with it. You can either record both at the same time to get two slightly different angles, you can record at 2 different frames per second, or you can have the phone camera facing you while the GoPro faces forward for something like vlogging. Now let's remove the small handle for a minute, and let's reposition our cameras. You now have a one-handed low position shooting rig, and of course you can look straight down and see the bubble level. You can't really appreciate one of these without shooting a video at a low angle. This makes it much more comfortable and relieves strain on your muscles. The last cool thing with the phone you can do on the stabilizer is pair it with your GoPro so you can get a live feed straight onto the screen so you can see exactly what your GoPro is shooting. As you know, all GoPros have small screens and some don't have any, so this makes the stabilizer such an amazing tool for this, so you're never trying to guess where the GoPro is shooting. Alright, so now we're going to go test this out with the 2 position mode, the 1 position, and no stabilizer at all. Before we get to that, here's the stabilizer with my DSLR on it. I've just been using it to record this video, but it does feel secure and I feel like I have a lot more control on it. Alright, so we're outside and we're going to start with the low position shooting rig. You'll notice that I paired the GoPro to my phone for this to show you just how useful this feature is. As you'll see, shooting from a lower angle gives a whole new perspective to the video and gives it an interesting look because we're so used to seeing everything from a certain height. While recording this, it was really comfortable and easy to maneuver around. Next we're going to try out the GoPro facing forward while my phone camera is directed towards me. As I mentioned earlier, this is great for people that like to vlog or get some kind of facial reactions to what they're recording. I'm not giving many facial reactions here, I'm just giving a little example of the possibilities. Alright, so now before we get into the two-handed stabilizer, we'll see what it's like recording on a GoPro without any mount. You'll notice without any stabilization, you can see a sharp shake in the video with each step that I take. I was focusing on keeping my hand still in this because holding it by hand, every small movement translates to a big reaction on the video. So finally, we're going to try this out with the two-handed stabilizer and see how it goes. Immediately I noticed how smooth it felt, and using one of these for the first time, I got some decent stable footage. I did notice that I could still see each step that I took in the video, but it was definitely much better than with no stabilizer at all. Also, controlling it with my hands at wider positions than just holding the camera itself, I felt much more in control, and little movements that would normally show up without a stabilizer were neglectable. Here I put the videos side by side. To the right I have the two-handed stabilizer, and to the left I have no stabilizer at all. So to wrap this all up, I think this is a great product by Fantaseal. It's super innovative, durable, and comfortable at the same time. If you're into videos where you don't need to use your hands, I highly recommend this. If you don't have the money for a gimbal stabilizer, this is a great value option. I'll throw the link to this product in the description. You can find it on Amazon for about $50. And from what I've seen, I think it's definitely worth it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.